I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring gas. Welcome to Flagrant Howls, a Minnesota Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.
State of the Wolves Monday here, boys. We got the sports dad. We got Dex, Phil here, and we'll go through the overview. We'll go through some of our favorite, least favorite current Wolves things and discuss the biggest storyline of the week in Timberwolves basketball, presented in part by MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Indeed. And all right, the bad news is winter is here. The cold is here. The cold, unfortunately, is here to stay. And we, of course, live in a state where heating systems run much longer per season than in most states. Any inefficiencies, as you know, get multiplied, and that leads to significantly higher bills. Reduce those inefficiencies and the risk of breakdowns in the dangerous cold by calling my friends at MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air to have your systems checked. Having your furnace or boiler fail can quickly become a safety hazard with a risk of frozen or burst pipes that also can become extremely expensive. Don't forget, MSP also is your local Carrier dealer, and Carrier and MSP are a winning combination, a winning team. So give them a call, 651-615-4292. Check out their website, callmsp.com. Proudly serving the Twin Cities since 1918. 1918. I think that goes back to I think the Red Sox won the World Series, if I'm not mistaken, that season.
Who won the NBA title that year?
Call MSP.
It didn't exist.
It didn't exist. In fact, the NBA didn't have a title till the late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah, it was a little dynasty here in the Twin Cities for a while.
Because the Lakers,
those banners back.
But the Lakers' first championship was not in, to your point, the NBA. The league had a different title.
Oh,
or what was the league?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that history up here while I tell you about another company that's been around for a long time, Federated Insurance. Been around even longer, since 1904, I want to say.
Had to one-up me, didn't you?
That's right.
Had to one-up me.
My company is older than yours. But Federated specializes in working with small to medium-sized businesses, the backbone of America. And they specialize in industries like retailers and wholesalers, manufacturing companies, auto services, dealerships, contractors, woodworking, and cabinetry companies. If that sounds like you, and or if you are a next generation business owner, Federated Insurance can be a great partner for you. Federatedinsurance.com. It's also a great place to work, as you see on the screen on YouTube. Federatedinsurance.com. Okay. Just out of curiosity here, pulling up the Lakers franchise history. It was, do you know the name of the league? I have it here.
I don't remember it now.
The BAA.
Okay.
Is that the Basketball Association of America?
Of associations.
The Basketball Association
of Associations. We're the best association
in America. It was the Basketball Association of America. Was a professional basketball league founded in 1946. Following its third season, the BAA merged with the National Basketball League to form the National Basketball Association. So the National Basketball League was founded in 1935 as the MBC, which was the Midwest Basketball Conference.
Wow, that's quite a history lesson.
So we merged several different leagues together to get the Minneapolis Lakers some championships that the Lakers in Los Angeles are now housing those banners. But let's start with the overview here. The Timberwolves are currently 6th in the Western Conference. According to ESPN's Basketball Power Index, they have a 96% chance to make the playoffs. All right. 6% chance to make it to the conference finals for the third consecutive year. And a 0.4% chance to win the BAA championship. Or the, what was it, MBL? Whatever. Offensive rating, the Wolves are 8th. Defensive rating, the Wolves are 10th. And overall net rating, the Wolves are the 8th ranked team in the NBA. So kind of feels right that they've mostly beat the bad teams. They've struggled to beat or close out the good teams. And we're going to go with this for the biggest storyline on this Monday here. Anthony Edwards, lead initiator. And I want to read you an excerpt from Jace Frederick, Wolves beat writer and columnist, Pioneer Press. The Wolves are putting a ton of trust into Anthony Edwards, and we kind of thought this was going to happen. It's happened maybe a little more quickly and organically than the Wolves expected. I think the Wolves wanted Rob Dillingham to be more of an initiator. Mike Conley has had to see a reduction in minutes, and they pulled him out of the starting lineup to start the year. I think they wanted DiVincenzo to be a little more of a reliable ball handler, but he's more of an off-ball guy, and he's effective in that role. So Jace writes, Mike Conley's 38, can't impact the game the way he used to. Rob Dillingham is 20, and whether or not he'll eventually be a starting caliber player in the NBA is still TBD. Dante DiVincenzo is a shooting guard whose best basketball comes playing off-ball. Timberwolves coach Chris Finch has more than insinuated Anthony Edwards' new role on the team on multiple occasions. Edwards is Minnesota's point guard. Quote from Ant, with no designed point guard, I think I've got to be the one to bring the ball up. It's just that simple, so we don't turn it over. Although he turned it over 7 times against the Spurs yesterday. He's still working on some of that. He was awesome aside mostly from the turnovers, but get us into an action, get my teammates shots, and we'll be all right. I'm feeling good. I just got to get used to being a point guard, getting to get the rock, just trying to take pressure off my teammates. So how do you feel about Anthony Edwards now? You kind of saw this coming, and maybe they make a trade at some point. But your thoughts on Ant with increased responsibilities as the initiator of all offense?
I guess I'm not surprised about it because if you look around the league, the Timberwolves are certainly not the first team to do this. Like I feel like we need to change the name of the position, though, because at least for me personally, when I think point guard, right, I think old school sort of they're not point guards anymore.
Shorts.
They are, yeah, exactly right. Exactly, yeah, 70s high
6
socks.
feet.
Jackie Moon, he's out there.
Yep.
Speaking of BBA and ABA.
It's so true. He's
dribbling
just
with one hand on
the
top of the ball.
And you might make a nice move once in a while, but yeah, I feel like the point guard title is a relic as the players that once played it are to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But I like this. I guess I reserve a little bit of time to see how it works. Like, is this going to work in the playoffs? Is this going to be because to your point, Phil, Ant is certainly not a finished product here. But I do like the Wolves. I do like the fact that it feels like they have picked a path at least here. And so I think our opinions about they have to go get a point guard in a trade with this sort of being made official of the lead guard, I feel like we're in a little bit of a different place probably when it comes to that discussion, given the path or the road that the Wolves have gone down with Ant right now.
Yeah. Is Mark Price available? Mark Price was a point
Price,
guard.
Cleveland. Yeah.
Cleveland?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Steph was that.
Scotty Skiles, Muggsy Bogues.
Oh,
That's
Scott.
Muggsy. All 5'7" of them.
Scott Skiles,
5'6".
Michigan State. I mean, like your traditional point guard.
Yeah, and it's funny because Conley is
He
is as throwback as you get at that position. But when it comes down to it, I'm with you. Point guard is an outdated term in today's more position blurry NBA. Initiator, we could use ChatGPT or something, but who's the initiator? Who's bringing the ball? The primary ball handler, primary initiator? Because at the end of a lot of games, Jokic is, if you want to call that position a point guard, Jokic is a point guard. Giannis is a point guard. You could go down the list of guys that you wouldn't classify as point guards, but they're the ones with the ball in their hands with 2 minutes left in a clutch time spot.
It's like leadoff hitters in baseball. A leadoff hitter in 2005, Scott Pasednik, is not thriving as a leadoff hitter in 2025, right? Like you're gonna have a different type of player, different type of dude there. Just as sports evolve, that's just how things are changed.
Can you guys, just for fun here, it's before Declan's time, but how many of the 1993 assists per game? I pulled up a random year in the NBA. Assists per game, so the point guards from 30 years ago in the NBA. How many of the top 10 can you? Pooh Richardson just on the outside at 11 here with the Pacers that year.
Can I take a John Starks? Was John Starks?
John Starks was more
John
off
Stockton, though, is probably number one.
John Stockton, number one, 12 assists per
Into
game.
Malone.
Traditional point guard.
Back out to the perimeter, back into Malone, and there's a slam dunk.
But
Sean Kemp couldn't stop it.
And what's fascinating, I'll give you the rest of this. Sean Kemp couldn't stop a lot of things.
Yeah, I love.
Curry's
You know what,
point
Sean
is
Kemp? Sean Kemp, phenomenal player though.
God.
Not
Sean Kemp.
he may have had some off the court issues, but phenomenal player.
Let him alone.
So here's what's fascinating. 93, just a random year in the NBA. The assist leaders were all traditional classic point guards. John Stockton, Tim Hardaway, Scotty Skiles, Mark Jackson, Muggsy Bogues, Michael Williams with the Timberwolves, Isaiah Thomas, a lot of like 6 foot, small, Mookie Blaylock, Kenny Anderson,
Blaylock.
Mark
Blaylock,
Price.
the Hawks at the time, right?
Yeah.
He was a great Hawk.
Yeah, and those are the days where the Hawks were on the TBS carried Hawks games, right? They were like
Atlanta.
nationally televised out of Atlanta. Spud Webb, Rod Strickland, Avery Johnson. It's like the prototype was your 6 foot, 6'1", ball handling, distributing point guards. In today's NBA, by a mile, the number one assist guy is a 7 foot center, Nikola Jokic. You've got some traditional point guard in here, but like Cade Cunningham is this monster combo guard. Technically, he's a point guard, I guess. Luka Doncic, 9 assists per game. Technically a point guard, but not in the way that you would classify early 90s. James Harden at age 36 is currently top 5 in assists in the NBA, 8.7. And then you've got other guys like Giannis is 15th in assists per game on this list. Julius Randle is top 20 in assists per game and leads the Wolves in that category. And he's not a point guard, but he's initiating a lot of the sets that the Wolves get into. So, yeah, it's less about classifying Ant as a point guard and more about the way that the NBA has shifted. All right, no longer do we need the 6'1" shorts guy dribbling the ball up the court and getting into a set. You give the ball
calling
to,
out plays.
Yeah.
Back in the day when they come out the court, two,
3.
Those were the days, man. I'm going to tell you right now. Hearing the point guard call out the play and seeing guys initiate running around is great.
I remember like playing youth ball and like I remember like I played inner city rec ball. Okay, so and Dex Tweets basketball was not one of his strong suits. All right, coming off the bench to play a couple minutes on defense was like
T-shirt under the jersey.
Yeah, was great. But I remember like when we would go play like an actual team, like go to some tournaments because we'd get signed up to go, and when they would start calling out numbers when the point guards bring out the ball, I was so overwhelmed. I was complete. It's like traumatizing you sports memory of watching some kid who I think is going to be the next LeBron James going 3, 3, 3, and
Was
then
this like
switching.
when you're on defense?
Yeah, when you're on defense, when
Okay.
you're already terrified. You're
just
ready to
on
screw this
skates.
up.
You're just on skates the entire
Oh
time.
God, yeah.
So Anthony Edwards with this new responsibility, I think it opens up a broader discussion too, just about his game this year. And there's there's been a couple little clunkers that we poked him for last week, and Jace poked him for, hey, dude, you can't, these blown leads and all this stuff where you guys fall asleep at the wheel, that stuff does still happen way too much. And, we can come back to that. But more broadly, Anthony Edwards this season, it's the most efficient offensive year he's had. He has, by far, to this point, after 16 games played for him, career high in player efficiency rating, career high in win shares per 48, career high usage rate, which is just essentially what it sounds like. Just how much does the ball go through you, shot attempts, assists, all these things. But I think the most noteworthy, despite the 7 turnovers last night, the most noteworthy number is his turnover percentage is a career best 6 years into his career. Last year, he turned the ball over. It was 12 out of 100 plays. It's down to 10 out of 100 plays, which may not seem like a lot, but that could be like an extra turnover per game. He's down like a half turnover per game compared to last year. So throw away the 7 from last night, but he has leveled up as a player in a lot of categories. Efficiency, last night, how often have you seen him score at that volume with that few shot attempts? And I get that Wemby's out, so it's a lot easier to just get like close shots. You're not getting swatted away by this praying mantis defender, but he scored 32 points on 18 shots last night, just getting whatever he wanted. So overall, it feels like his evolution and this new responsibility with Conley's role taking a backseat and Dillingham not ready to step in has been a positive for the Wolves.
And in the Boston game that they won at Target Center on Saturday, I thought it was interesting. I think this was in John Krasinski's story in The Athletic. He pointed out that Finch actually held Conley back until the fourth quarter because he wanted to have the freedom to play Conley more in the fourth quarter to get Ant off the ball. So like
Because
so
they're
like
trapping
that.
Ant quite a bit. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's probably like the key thing here is Ant can be the initiator, if this makes sense, until he can't. And then you got to find ways to play somebody else who can be. So like there's a lot of experimentation here, which I appreciate. But yeah, I think the thing with Ant, and this will probably be true in the playoffs as well, is overall this idea will probably work out just fine, but you can't have it be for an entire game necessarily, because there's going to be times that you want to get Ant off the ball to get him the ball.
Yeah, to that point, it's too exhausting in the regular season when there's a conveyor belt of 82 games to be double teaming and blitzing Ant or picking him up 3/4 court or full court every second of the game. Now, you do see some teams put a ton of ball pressure on him and try to get the ball out of his hands, even on a Tuesday night, regular season. But yeah, but they're more likely to implement that strategy if it's a pretty close game in the fourth quarter. Okay, now let's actively try to get the ball out of his hands. So that's an interesting counter move by Finch. Okay, let's save a little gas in that Mike Conley tank for, you're gonna flash on every screen, or you're gonna double team Ant, try to get the ball out of his hands. Cool. Well, we'll just put Ant over here on the wing and let Mike Conley initiate and get him the ball smart away. So let's get to our favorite current Wolves things here. Favorite current Wolves things.
Dex, go ahead.
I have more of a outside favorite Wolves thing, not necessarily just on the court of things that are happening. Are you guys aware? We have an updated top 100 ranking from the Ringer of the top 100 NBA players that dropped on Wednesday.
Oh, let's go.
Updated rankings.
Okay.
Updated rankings from the Ringer. They do these I want to say quarterly, maybe even a little more frequently than that throughout the season.
How many Wolves?
Because it's been more than. Have the Wolves played 25 games? What's their record?
They've played not quite 25.
Not quite.
They played what? 18 games? What is it?
18 games or so.
We had their record. Their record is it's 20, right? 12 and 8. 12 and 8. 20 games.
Okay, so 20 games. So they've updated these rankings. So Anthony Edwards obviously near the top. So I'll get there here in a sec. So number 1, the Joker. Number 2, SGA. Number 3, Giannis. Number 4, Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
5, Wemby.
Yeah.
6, Anthony Edwards. So
Interesting.
to start the year was 5th, dropped 1 spot to 6. He basically swapped with Wemby. Wemby was 6th to start the season, and now he is 5th. So Anthony Edwards, the 6th best player, also ahead of guys like Steph, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson, Cade Cunningham. Those ran out your top 10 players in the NBA.
The top 3. So you said the top 3 are Jokic, or the top 4 are Jokic, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Giannis, and Luka in that order.
Yep, correct.
I feel like it's really hard to debate those four. Those 4 have to be the top 4 players right now, especially because there was a minute there with Luka during the last weird season with Dallas and the Lakers, and is he out of shape? And he wasn't the same guy really last year, but he's back, man. Like that dude is full force playmaker, everything, driver of scoring and winning. But after those 4, it gets really debatable. The Wemby thing is, Wemby is an incredible talent, and it is scary what that dude might be when he really gets to know the NBA in 3 or 4. What does he look like in 5 years when his mental processing, which is already at a super high level for a 20-year-old, matches his physical ability?
I feel like the age-old mystery box comparison that I love to use, which I still think there is something in the mystery box that is Anthony Edwards. We're still trying to maybe pull 1, maybe 2 more things out of. We know what that house looks like, but there's also something maybe in the basement that, oh my God, this could make our house even better. And same thing with Wemby. He's only been in here for a couple years, where that mystery box is a lot of a larger grab bag of assortment of amazing things. So
Yeah,
Makes
Wemby
sense.
has a bigger upside. I mean, Wemby has the biggest upside of any player in the NBA right now. He could. This is going to sound crazy, but he could be a better version of Jokic. That's the terrifying part. And Jokic is like one of the 5 best players to ever play, maybe. Somewhere.
Stock rising from number 48 to begin the season. Julius Randle is now number 33 in the top 100 players in the NBA. He has climbed from 48 all the way up to 33. If I go back to the regular timeline here. So if he's 33 right now, he is now ahead of such players like Amen Thompson, Aaron Gordon, De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis. So he has gone from just inside the top 50 to now the 33rd best player in the NBA.
I don't disagree with that. He was never going to sustain I think he was shooting like 50% from 3 in the first handful of games. But as a playmaker, as a scorer, he's been healthy for the most part. He's just kind of a machine who plays 35 or 40 minutes, and he's a bucket unless he's playing Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City is his kryptonite. That is the elephant in the room here for the Timberwolves. But Oklahoma City is the NBA's kryptonite.
Right.
as well.
I was going to say that might be a league-wide trend as well with how good that team is.
But
And
real quick, one last thing on Randall. So they played Oklahoma City the once last Wednesday, and he went 2 for 13 with 10 points, handful of turnovers. So he shot 15% from the floor. Had a bad game. Well, then you couple it with the playoff series last year against OKC, where he had in the 5 games, he had 2 of the games 1 for 7 for 5 points, had a 2 for 11 for 6 points. And Oklahoma City does this to a lot of teams. You just short circuit, but they have a level of Julius Randle kryptonite that goes beyond like, oh, he's going to struggle a little bit. They render, in about half the games played against the Timberwolves, they render him completely unfunctional as a basketball player. So that is one thing. I agree on him being a fringe top 30 player right now, but against Oklahoma City, he becomes almost unplayable against their size and the way that he wants to kind of bang in the paint and get his little fadeaways. Like, you can't get those off against that team.
And we talked about this last week, but I saw something else. I forget where I saw it over the weekend with the question raised again. Would they trade him at his ultimate peak value at some point during the season, which would be a large gamble, but I feel like that story might not be going away.
The answer is Tim Connolly will trade almost anyone at any time.
That's why
except for Anthony Edwards, it feels like. Yeah.
3 more players crack this list. Probably no surprise of the 3 of which 3 those are. But I will say Jaden McDaniels, he has also increased. So he went from the 58th best player to start the year. He is now number 50. He has now cracked also the top 50. So he goes up 8. He moves up 8 spots. Rudy Gobert falls from 47 to 52. So a little bit of a drop there. And then Naz Reid from 74 to 76. So
yeah, that's fair.
Which is definitely fair. So, but 5 Wolves players in the Ringer's top 100, 3 of them in the top 50. Julius with one of the biggest. I don't know who had the biggest climb, but Julius ran with one of the biggest increases, probably from going from 48 to number 33 in the updated Ringer rankings.
Yeah, who would be the next player? If you expanded this out to like 150 or whatever, it's probably DiVincenzo. It's probably DiVincenzo.
Probably Dante, because he's just established. Yeah.
I think it would have to be, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anyone. I mean, there's really no one. Joe Ingles as an inbounder. Does he crack that list? Joe Ingles, 99.
TJ Shannon, he's healthy now. He looks a little bit more like himself now.
A little bit more. We're getting a little bit more out of there. Joe, what's your favorite current Wolves thing?
My favorite current Wolves thing actually comes from, and again, this goes back to Finch's willingness for experimentation. And I don't mean that with bad things. I mean that with basketball things, okay?
Who's to say what's good or bad? You know?
Exactly right. That's
judge?
a good point. That's a good point. I am not here to judge. But so Finch ordinarily starts the fourth quarter with Conley and Gobert on the floor. But last night, with Wemby out for the Spurs were basically getting what they wanted against Gobert. So what Finch did was he went with Conley, Dante DiVincenzo, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, and Naz Reid. In 6 minutes of the beginning of the fourth quarter, that lineup went on a 21-7 run that turned what had been a 4-point deficit into a 10-point lead. It can be frustrating at times, and I get that. But you know what? We always bitch and moan about coaches that are too rigid, that get stuck in, this is how I do things, or these are my lineups, and this is what we're going to do. And Finch, early season, and it backfires at times, but he is willing to experiment with things. He experimented by going small against a team that was small and getting its way against Gobert, who ordinarily would be playing then. If I'm not mistaken, Gobert didn't play again. So This is not an answer for every team, but in the moment it was, and I think it played a large role in going from what had been a less than impressive game probably through 3 quarters to a game that you won. And by the way, you've now won back-to-back games against teams that have winning records, so congratulations, Timberwolves.
Yeah, you've merged into what my favorite Wolves thing is, in addition to some of the Anthony Edwards stuff we talked about. It was the willingness. Chris Finch has been more willing to move off of some of his stubborn tendencies from the last year or two into some more experimental things like, okay, Conley's not going to start at the beginning of the year. Let's try some new things, see how that pans out 3 months down the road. And the fact that he was willing to, I think it was 17 minutes, the last 17 minutes of that game, Gobert did not play. And as he said when asked about it in the postgame, there's a lot of games, 90% of the time, where Rudy is our defensive backbone, and Rudy is part of most of the Wolves' best 5-man lineup combinations, despite his shortcomings. But there are certain nights where it just makes sense for another lineup to go on a run and ride it out. And it seems like Rudy didn't really have a huge problem with it. He's getting a little older, He's not the same guy he was. So there are definitely things to poke at that Chris Finch oversees, and I will get into one of them in the least favorite things. But the willingness to open up lineup combinations, finish the game in different ways, start the game. How many times last year were we banging the table? Try a different starting lineup. Try a different closing lineup. Try something new. And he might tell you that, hey, sticking with some of that actually hardened us for the playoffs, having that patience. But, yeah. Okay, before we get to our least favorite Wolves things, North American Banking Company is one of our favorite things. North American Banking Company, Minnesota-based since 1998, 6 locations in the Twin Cities. And obviously online and mobile banking are very important for everyone these days. You might think, well, a local community bank wouldn't possibly have high-end technology, but I can tell you, based on personal experience banking with North American Banking Company, I like their app better than, I'm not going to throw names under the bus, but there's a big national bank that I hate their app, and North American Banking Company is pretty damn good technology. Safety and security of my accounts accounted for. Friendly, knowledgeable people. You can find out more at nabankcode.com/Mackey if you're looking for a better banking experience. nabankcode.com/Mackey. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Over not that far from Target Center, Dex, is Element Hotel if you're looking for an overnight stay.
That's right, yeah. Element Hotel, just a block or so down from the Target Center. It's a great spot for a game. It's a great spot for a staycation. Maybe you're coming in on business, too, and you're looking for an ideal place to stay. ScoreNorth.com/Element, 15% off. ScoreNorth.com/Element. Free Wi-Fi, a business center. It's a pet-friendly hotel. Bring your wolves, assuming that they're,
Are they domesticated?
Yeah, domesticated
Might be
wolves.
a problem.
Point wolf. Ant's is playing point guard. Maybe your own point guard can come with you too. Plus the North Loop, great happening with breweries and restaurants all over the place too. So ScoreNorth.com/Element for 15% off your room rate.
And then while you're staying at Element, or if you're going to a Wolves game, Brixworth, which is not that far away from Element, it's just steps away from Target Center. Some maybe better, cheaper parking options over by Brixworth as well. For home games, great place to pregame, postgame, food and drink with fellow Wolves-loving friends. And for away games, you can belly up, take advantage of Wolves drink specials, and watch the game on TV with some friends. They got the signature Naz Reid Hazy IPA as well. Brixworth and the North Loop. It's a Mackey favorite for sure, as we like to bounce around and hit up spots. Brixworth is very high up on that list. And it's pretty close to Target Center, so you can just walk over to the game and have a good time with friends. Bricksworth in North Loop, Minneapolis area. Okay, least favorite Wolves things. I'll throw this one out, piggybacking off of just some of the themes from this episode. So the Wolves in clutch time have been really bad at taking care of the basketball. And I'm over on NBA.com right now. Not shockingly, in terms of turnovers per 100 possessions in clutch time. So clutch time being 5 minutes left or less, 5-point game or closer. It's nut-cutting time in the National Basketball Association. And not surprisingly, the number one team in terms of just not shooting themselves in the foot and taking care of the basketball, Oklahoma City Thunder. In clutch time, and now granted, I feel like they don't spend a lot of time in clutch time because they're just constantly blowing teams out. But they average just 2.5 turnovers per 100 possessions. The Wolves, dead last in the NBA by a mile, 25 turnovers per 100 possessions in clutch time. So 1 in every 4 possessions, they are throwing a bad pass, dribbling it off a foot, doing some other dumb thing for the ball to swing back the other way. And those are oftentimes live ball turnovers. They're lucky if those are like just passes that go out of bounds, because at least, okay, now you can reset your defense. But a lot of these are live ball turnovers, and they did it again against Boston on, was it Friday night? I think it was Friday night, yeah.
Saturday
night. Yeah, Saturday night.
Back-to-back game, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep. So they're playing Boston. They're up by 12 with like 4 minutes to go. They come back. They take a lead. And even though Boston doesn't have Jason Tatum, you know, their roster's not what it was when they won the championship 2 years ago. But they have some responsible adult players. Derek White, Jaylen Brown. Like, they've got some championship pedigree players that if you fall asleep, they'll take advantage of it. So the Wolves are up by 12, 4 minutes to go. Parade of isolation threes with no ball movement, no cutting. And this is where it's like Ant and Mike Conley need to get a handle on this on the court and Finch schematically. But you had Dante DiVincenzo with an absurd live ball turnover. Gobert with a dumb swipe foul off of so he misses the rebound. Boston gets it, and he gets pissed and swipes. Boston's in the bonus, so they get 2 free throws. Ant almost turns the ball over, 2-point game. They had Boston ties it. Wolves take the lead. 2-point game with 15 seconds to go. And Ant dribbles it off of his foot, trying to cross over at the top of the key. Somehow recovers, picks the ball up, and jacks a 3, cashes it to put the Wolves up by 5. But like, they got lucky against Boston because they were super careless, bad turnovers, etc. And the 25% clutch time turnover rate, worst in the NBA, has to change. So that is my least favorite current Wolves thing. Be more careful and organized with the basketball.
Is that also the pressure that comes with that time of game as well? Like are they not turning the ball over as much non-clutch time because the pressure to what we talked about earlier in the show isn't there?
Yeah,
but if it's a close game or if a team is behind, it feels like they're probably going to pressure you more. And I will say this: the Wolves do melt.
I think it's too. Yeah, I think there is. If you're talking about like figurative pressure of, I think the game speeds up a little bit for them.
Yes.
They panic for one, but they also don't have the reason why Anthony Edwards is such a high usage, and he should be. He's a really good player, but like, it's not like they have a bunch of sure-handed ball handlers. Period. Even like Dillingham has one of the highest turnover rates, I think, among rotation players in the NBA, or at least on the Timberwolves. So, and he's a point guard by definition. So they just, when the literal and figurative pressure ramps up, they are probably one of the worst or least reliable ball handling teams in the league, and it magnifies with a 25% turnover rate in clutch time. So, Dex, what's your least favorite current Wolves thing?
Yeah, I know we talked about him last week being just kind of a minus player, but Terrence Shannon Jr. continues to really struggle and not really give any quality minutes for the Wolves. In just the last 5 games specifically, minus 14 on the court. If you're looking at on and off plus minus per 100 possessions. Terrence Shannon Jr. is the least efficient player on the Wolves, minus 23.6. Worse than Dillingham at minus 13.4. You need more positive and more just better minutes from your bench overall, but Terrence Shannon Jr. needed a little bit more from him over the last few weeks. He's just it's been a grind watching him try to play.
He was awesome against Oklahoma City in a losing effort. That was the version that was the version that you thought he was going to give you, and then he showed some flashes against Boston. But it would be nice if there was more of a consistent drumbeat to his offense for sure. And so maybe now they've all kind of said that the injury and the lack of being able to prepare the way that he's used to kind of threw him off before. So, all right, if that was a reason, you've been back for 4 games now, get back into the rhythm, back healthy. Let's see what it looks like. I'm not saying you have to go 7 for 7 for 18 points every game like he did against Oklahoma City, but it'd be nice to see something a little closer to that more often than not. Yeah.
So what we're saying is that OKC is the kryptonite to Julius, but Terrence Shannon is the kryptonite to the Thunder.
OKC. Yeah.
Oh my God! Can you imagine this plot twist?
It's an inception. Yeah, it's crazy.
Your Western Conference Finals MVP is Terrence Shannon Jr.
Get into that 7-game series.
Who never missed a shot.
Bench Julius Randle and start Terrence Shannon Jr. and you sweep them.
Next level thinking. Next level. Okay, mine is this. It's actually an off the floor thing. So I'm driving to the Wild game. The Wolves game on Saturday started at 5:00. Wild played at 7. I'm driving to the game, and on my app, I am listening to the Wolves and Celtics, which is great. It's an easy app to use. It's fantastic. But you guys are probably aware of this. The Wolves are now on the Michael Grady games where he's out. The Wolves are now simulcasting games, okay?
Yeah.
And Horton's great. Jim Pete's great. So this has nothing to do with them. But simulcasting games. So they're basically doing a television show, which is, Jim Pete's explaining things. You got to look at this and then you look at that, and he's great at it. But when it's on, when you can't see what he's talking about, simulcasting is the cheapest, worst way to go about. Like if you're going to offer that, if you're going to offer the games on your app, which you should, that's awesome. Then at least give me a chance of knowing what is going on. It was so bad they missed the start of the second half on the app. So like they join you. It's like, okay, let's go back to Horton. And he's like, Julius Randle just made a shot. It's like, what, huh?
That feels more like a production issue. So was it their commercial break ran long or something?
Yeah, probably on TV. But the point is simulcasting is just the cheapest. It's not necessary. Have somebody call the game on the app if Horton is on TV. It's such a cheap out, and it's just like I was trying to pay attention. At one point, poor Jim Pete's like, okay, you got to see what Gobert did here. He comes out, and it's like, I unfortunately can't see it because I am not watching the game. So
yeah,
that's my biggest gripe.
I wonder what the numbers are now. I mean, for many, many years, especially for baseball, because it was every night, it was habitual for people. There was, I want to say, like when the Twins went to game 163 in 2009, I think for that week on AM 1500 was the radio station at the time. I think they cumed 1 million listeners that week of game 163 because there was just that many people listening to the radio and sports on the radio.
Absolutely.
I would be really curious for basketball play-by-play either on the radio or on an app. And I don't know that anyone's sharing these numbers like publicly or willingly because quite frankly, they're probably not that great at night on a weeknight, especially on a weekend night. They've probably looked at the numbers and said, there's just not enough people listening to this in the way that they used to maybe 10 or 15 or 20 years ago to justify paying someone. Because how many games? Horton's doing like 30 or 40 games or more. Aren't they simulcasting that many games?
It's a lot of games.
Because when Horton's on TV,
Grady's
they're
out a lot.
simulcasting the radio product. Yeah,
Correct. Yeah, correct.
So they're thinking, well, we'd have to pay someone for like let's call it 40 or 50 games or whatever it is, and I don't know. There's only like a few thousand people listening. Is it worth it? And they told you what the score was. They told you what the score was a couple times, didn't they?
If I'm listening, it's worth it. Okay. If I'm listening, it's worth it. Just get somebody. I mean, there's a good play-by-play. You don't have to have like a color guy. Just Get somebody in to do play-by-play when Horton's on TV. Horton and Jim Pete are fantastic, and Horton alone on radio is great.
Yeah.
But, just get someone in to tell me what's going on. I can't see anything. I'm listening to the game. I'm frustrated. I'm swerving. It's icy outside.
Sounds like maybe you should drive in silence if you're that.
I was very
I
frustrated.
do that sometimes. It's nice.
Wow.
Driving silence?
Driving silence.
I
can
rarely
sit-
drive in silence.
Where was I?
The rush hour drive.
It was it was
What did that
it was
get
the
to
other
be a term
day.
for everything?
I love that term. Where was Kelsey? Kelsey was somewhere with Sonny. Maybe she was gone and she came back home with them, or she was upstairs. And I was just sitting in the living room. No TV on. Just silence. And
on your phone or no?
I was on my phone, yeah. I was definitely on my phone. Maybe scrolling tweets or something.
That's not really, that's silence, but it's still you're preoccupied or something.
But it's great. The silence, I love the silence.
There are people, it's become a trend. I've seen Instagram reels where they'll do 30 or 40 minutes per day. Silence, no phone.
Oh, I need my phone.
You just sit and you think, or you don't. You meditate every day. You cleanse your mental
It's called
palate.
sleep.
But
That's
you can't
called
sleep, stay
7
awake.
hours a night of sleep.
That's hilarious. What did people do 200 years ago? The sun goes
seriously.
down, there's no electricity.
Psychopaths.
I guess you light a fire and sit there and watch it.
Well,
Play
you
with your
probably did
tin
go-
cans.
At one point in time, you basically had to go kill your dinner, right? Or pick your dinner.
That's true.
So,
I guess
that would take up a lot of
hunt
your
for your
day.
family's meal.
I
Sure.
did hear a really weird thing, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I'll share it. So I heard the reason why when you start to fall asleep at times and jolt awake like this, and it's really weird, is because hundreds of years ago people would sleep in the trees, and if they felt that they were going to fall, they would jolt. So you didn't
when
fall.
you're on a plane
Yep.
and
But,
your head starts to nod and then oh my gosh, I feel like
But,
I'm
sometimes
falling out of the hunting tree
in
the
bed.
1700s.
Yeah, but sometimes in bed you'll start to fall asleep, and you'll jolt yourself awake, and it's it makes no sense. According to what I saw, which again might not be true, that is something that is hereditary, that's carried through, that's not necessary.
That's why babies do that. I learned that from our pediatrician too. Babies kind of do that where I don't know if it has to do with the tree factor that Judd's talking about, but that's why they kind of startle themselves once they get into a deep sleep, because it's their brain saying, "Hey, you're still functioning, you're still kicking, you're still alive, you're all good, you're all right, it's all right."
See, you learn something new every day.
You do. This is why you can't miss an episode of Flagrant Howls, Timberwolves lifestyle podcast. Go beat the Pelicans a couple times, huh?